Hi, it's Mary Beth. I am here today to talk to you about this book I got in the mail, Artful Paper Clay, and I got a review copy of this, which was thrilling for me. I mean, it's exciting to have somebody send you a book, right? And my publisher obviously did, and they wanted me to take a look at it, and it is right up my alley because I have for a long time been interested in adding more textural components to my work, and this book shows you how to do this with paper clay. And look at some of these components that the author Rogene Manas is making. I mean, they're just gorgeous. Some of her pieces are so extraordinary. This bird, and this is just the beginning of it. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed reading the book, and I found a lot of very good information in it. And of course, I ran out and got some clay. This is the kind that she uses, the creative paper clay. And so I've been playing around with it a little bit myself. And what struck me, what always strikes me about everything, you guys are going to know before I even say it, is stencils, of course. How stencils would lend themselves to making shapes. And I had actually done that with some clay in my book, Stencil Girl. I don't know if you remember, I made a little clay rabbit in that book. He's so cute. But anyway, I digress. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. And I have a plan, which is very unlike me. I have a wood cradled surface that I have gessoed twice with just a white gesso, and I sanded between the layers so I have a nice smooth surface. I just put one coat of gesso around the edge. I'm planning on doing some collage on this, so I didn't really think it needed a ton of gesso. But I need to make a birthday gift for somebody who's very special to me. And you know, I guess I can tell you who, because by the time I air this video, it'll be past her birthday and I will have given it to her. But anyway, it's for Carol Baxter, who's my assistant. And anyway, I have this idea that this is one of, let's find a background to put this on so you all can see it here. Find something with color. This is one of Sue Pelletier's stencils, and we are making these in a 6x6 size now, and I just happen to know that Carol adores this stencil. I also happen to know that she is crazy for swimming. That's what she does for exercise. So I thought this stencil might give me a neat background. And then I wanted to collage some parts in there of things that are relevant to her life. So she's quite into music, and I wanted to have some sheet music collaged into the background. So first thing I did was I pulled out some painted papers that I had on hand, and I was just kind of messing around trying to come up with a color scheme. Honestly, I thought I was going to do like a blue-green at first, and I pulled a bunch of blue-green stuff. And then as I got going, I sort of started going more towards the purple direction. And what I've done here is torn some strips of paper to layer into the background. And what I tried to do was to make tears that sort of echoed the mood of this stencil, because then I'm going to stencil on top of what I've done. So I made these little component collage parts, and what I need to do now is to arrange them on this background and glue them down. So I will use the fluid matte medium for this, and I'm just going to review some quick collage technique because people ask me all the time how I get my collages so uber flat without bubbles, and I've been doing it the same way for years and years and years. And I learned this, I mean, gosh, back in the day from somebody on like one of those TV shows that used to be on TV, like maybe Carol Duvall show or something. But anyway, you just lightly spritz the paper on both sides. And see how that makes that paper so limp? It just, what it does is it loosens the paper fibers, and it allows it to get a better seal with your substrate. So then I paint the fluid matte medium to the receiving surface. I put the collage element down. It just goes super flat right on there. and I get some more and I make a little sandwich there. Okay. Now since I want to collage around the edge, I'm going to take this around the edge this time too. I don't always do that. And then I'll just tuck it behind and then I can cut it away later. All right, here's my piece. Got the sides and I'm pretty happy with it. All right, now the colors are all lovely, but too much for what I really want writing in the background. So I am going to use this golden fluid acrylic zinc white, and it's a very sheer white. It'll just give it that little whitewash. See how that is? Just knocks it down. Look how it is over here versus over here. In the meantime, I also went and looked at my craft paint collection to try to find a few colors that I thought might look good with this. And I did find a few. I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to use with the stencil. I'm going to try it out first and see how it looks. I'm going to just put the paint over here right on my little side, on my background paper. And I pounce up and down with the soft sponge, and then I go ahead and pounce here. And I think I'll do some of the blue as well. So there we go. We have a nice look here, and this is exactly what I was going for. It's kind of a fluid look. And I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see that a little bit closer. I've lost some of my papers under there that I love so much. I don't like that so much, do you? So this is when I use a baby wipe. Because these baby wipes, you know, you gotta think, well, they clean babies' butts, right? I liked that white corner up there. So now I'm pulling back some of these little underneath accents just because I felt like I got a little bit too overzealous with my stenciling. I'm going to set this aside and let it dry, and then we will take a look at the clay now. I'm going to get the paint off my hands because I don't want to condition the paper clay with paint on my hands and get it all yucky. All right, and I'm also going to toss this in the water so it doesn't get petrified. This is my paper clay, and this is an already opened one, and this is how I store it. I tuck it under like this, and then so that there's a good seal. Then I bring it around like this, then I tape it, and then I put it in a bag because I don't want this to dry out. So I am going to make our girl out of clay. So I'm going to pull some of the clay out of here. And I'm thinking that'll probably be enough. I don't know, it's hard to say. I guess it depends on how thick I make her. I'll get a little bit more than I think I'm going to need. And I'll keep this in here for the moment. Now, the thing about the clay is you need a plastic surface to roll it out on, and a Ziploc bag works great because it won't stick to the Ziploc. So I happen to have this one laying around and I thought, excellent, I shall just use that. If I had a rolling pin, I would use a rolling pin, but my rolling pin I use for baking. I don't really have a craft one, so I'm going to just use a brayer. And I'm going to lay this out and try to sort of configure it in the shape we want here. And then I'm going to brayer and see if we can flatten this out. Arms go out really far. See how her arms go out so far to the side? So I'm going to get a little bit more clay. From reading the book, I found out that the clay, the paper clay, sticks quite well to a lot of surfaces. Like you don't even have to glue it. It'll just dry down and become one with your surface, which I think is pretty darn cool. So the big key is to just wet it before you attach it to your surface. And I'm like, wow, I think that's really cool. I had no idea. Uh-oh, ruh-roh. See what's going on here? I got some paint on there. You had to know I was going to screw up because I'm like the world's messiest person. And doing this live, well, there was bound to be an issue, right? Alright, well, we've got her almost on there. Now, when cutting the clay, I was using two different tools. They're actual clay tools. Naturally, I don't own any of them. So I have to use what I have on hand, which happens to be an X-Acto knife and then this little pointy awl. If you stick it into water first, or in my case, I'm gonna spray it, it goes through the clay better. And the other thing is if you kind of just go along, rather than trying to make a straight cut, if you just try to make shortcuts and go along, it tends to work a bit better. So what I'm going to do is just kind of outline where the stencil goes, and then we shall see how this goes. You cannot help but look at the stencil without just kind of getting a little kick out of it, right? At least I do anyway. And I know Carol's gonna love it. Okay, now pull the stencil up and you can see, bring this up so you can get a better view, that I've got an outline of the body here, okay? I'm gonna put my knife down and I'm gonna go over to this tool now and try to connect these parts so that rather than it being, you know, a stenciled look, it's more just one piece. So I'm going to just try to delicately soften the cut looks around here. Basically, I just don't want her to look too, I want her to look more seamless, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Alright, I've run into a little problem and I wanted to show you guys how I am going to fix this because you may have a similar issue when you get going. One of the things I'm doing is I'm putting a little bit of water over it as I work it to smooth it out. Alright, and I'm liking pretty much where the body's going. I think it looks pretty good so far. What I don't like is the head. So what I did was I just went in, put a bunch more clay down there around this whole area, and I'm gonna, since you know it's a stencil, right, so you can lay it back down right where it goes and line it up and then press it down. And what happens is the clay kind of comes up through the stencil. So it gives you the outline it's supposed to have. And I think this will give us a nice amount of detail. So here's the plan. I'm going to just kind of peel her up and then put her down on this. See, you can see where she's going to go on here. And I think she'll look just great. So I'm going to keep working at the hair thing, and then we will let her dry, and I will come back and paint her with acrylic paint. Hi everybody, I'm back here at the studio to show you where I am, and I have finished this and it has dried down. I am actually really excited. I think it looks super cute. All I need to do now is paint it with some acrylic paint, do some touch-ups, and I'm good to go. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this. I think this paper clay is just super cute. I will put a picture of the finished project up so everybody can see it. I think it's super easy. I love the book. Am thoroughly enjoying it, and I hope you do too. Pick up a copy. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Thanks again for watching.